Tracy, the first question I have for you, besides how are you, is do I call you T-Mac or do you hate being called T-Mac and you just go with it?
I just go with it. It doesn't matter.
Well,
I mean, honestly, I've been called T-Mac all my life. So even when I was a kid.
right. Well, Tracy, I'll call you Tracy today. We were connected to talk about the Ones Basketball League, the OBL. How long was it from going, I want to do this, to it actually launching with the successful first event that you just had?
So back in August is when the thought came to me. Up late one night, and I got my information way before that because I have two sons. And just listening to them, listen to my AAU guys talk, is all about one-on-one basketball. It's all about short form content.
Mm-hmm.
So getting my information from them, and then in August, man, it just came to mind. I want to create a one-on-one league. So I called a few of my buddies. I called my business manager, and we started putting the pieces together. And I started visioning what it would look like. And we just start putting the pieces together, going out, hiring this person, hiring that person. And we just had our first one last weekend. And I must say that I'm really pleased with what I witnessed.
Who was your number two with this organization? Because obviously you're the face out front and you know how to delegate. Are you allowed to say who's working with you on it?
Yeah. So I went out, and my CEO who's spearheading this project is Jeffrey Pollack. And Jeffrey has been in the business world alongside of Vince McMahon, worked on the World Series of Poker, David Stern. So he's, to me, like the Michael Jordan of the business world, is just spearheading this league for me. I have a production company that I hired, Heart and Hustle, who's been doing a fabulous job of really bringing it to life and what it looks like on camera and on digital. I have a digital creator who's actually a friend of mine for over 15 years. We met, in Miami, and we always talked about doing some business together and what that would look like. Never could really put anything together. And he was one of the first persons I called about the idea. And we just started putting it together. So that's Lyle Bowen, one of my friends from Florida. He's my digital creator. And I mean, the championship team,
Mm-hmm.
Is what I'm more proud of what I put together, to help me build this up. And then Joe Favorito, my media guy, like I couldn't be, in this position without those guys. So,
Mm-hmm.
I owe a lot to them.
The NBA that I grew up with was just on television because the internet was in its early days. Then over time, the NBA got better with the internet. And then before you know it, apps, and people are like 10 people are watching the games 10 different ways. Now, you starting up a sports related league or sports league, whatever you want to call it, in 2022, it's a different world, to say the least. So is TV the biggest part of it, or is it just one of the parts for the eventual distribution of it?
No, it's one of the parts. I mean, because I think we can live on social as well, live stream. TV is definitely one part of it. And I think this product belongs on TV, and prime time at that. What I saw Sunday, it blew my expectations away.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it will be that entertaining, but it really was, right? And the perception of one-on-one basketball to most people is that it's boring. I think the model that we've created in terms of like the rules and the regulations that we have with OBL, it is perfect. Like you left the venue Sunday wanting more, and we were there for 2.5 hours, but you wanted more, and it didn't seem like 2.5 hours. And when my wife and when my business manager, the two people that don't watch basketball, don't watch sports, say they wanted more, I know I'm onto something. We are
Right.
onto something, right, Darren? When you get the information from, people that can care less about watching an NBA game or watching any type of sporting event, then you know you're onto something. And then the kids, the Gen Zers,
Mhm.
they're not wanting to sit down and watch 2.5 hours of an NBA game.
Definitely not. There's
Right.
nothing they want to do for 2.5 hours, not
Listen,
just sports.
these kids that were in there were engaged, they were locked in, and
Right.
they wanted more. It was so much fun for them. Some of these kids are actually flying to Atlanta this weekend because that's how much they loved it. And you just got to follow the kids, man. You get your information from the kids. So here we are.
Yeah, growing up watching tons and tons of NBA. The NBA was my number one before I became a music guy. But the old joke about the NBA was that, like, give each team 100 points and then give them 2 minutes, and then there's the game, there's the excitement. I think that you're kind of shaving away that boredom because those two players on the court actually have to try the whole time.
So I'm glad you said that. I just had this conversation on the last call. NBA, I love basketball. I love NBA
Sure.
basketball. I don't want to watch, whether it's playoffs, whether it's finals. I don't want to watch an NBA game and it's a 25, 30-point lead. I'm not watching it, right? Like, I just don't want to watch a blowout, and you're stuck with that. Well, in OBL, if there's a 9-3 blowout in a game, that game is over with, on to the next one. Brings another intriguing, process to the game of basketball. That first matchup is done. Now we have another one coming, which adds another excitement and a level of intrigueness to the matchup. And that's why I love this. Every matchup is intriguing, and it's quick. It's, and it's really a platform to display your array of skill set on the basketball court that, maybe you hold back in a 5-on-5 structured play.
Yeah, I wouldn't know once the OBL finds its way into the sports betting apps. I would have no idea who to bet on because it's possible that just that person's having an off day. It's all on that one player. So there's an unpredictability element that we get in this that we wouldn't get in other sports. Did you know that from the beginning, or is that once you started putting it together, you realized how unpredictable it all was?
No, I know how unpredictable it can be. Any man can lose on any given day. It's all about who has it's all about matchups, who has the hot hand, right? And I may be able to defend you better than I can the next guy because he just might have an unorthodox type style that I can't adapt to on the fly like that. So I was well aware of that, and I think that's what brings a level of excitement and just the unknown to this league.
Yeah. How far ahead are you thinking, though? Because some people, as entrepreneurs, they have a 10-year plan, and other people now, I can plan, but one thing can change this whole thing. So I'm not thinking more than a year in advance.
I'm thinking 5 years from now, and where I'm thinking is definitely beyond being domestic, right? I'm thinking of establishing what the model is for OBL here in North America, taking this model globally. So I'm 5 years down the line of where I think we can be.
And being that committed to all that, does that leave almost no time for other entrepreneurial endeavors, that everything goes on the OBL, that you're not chasing a book, you're not chasing a reality show, nothing like that? There's no DJ career.
OBL is my life. It's my life. It's the legacy that I really want to leave behind, because creating this is not just one-on-one basketball. So many arms that I want to attach to OBL. And I'll just give you two. I want to, at some point create OBL academies, right, for the youth. And I want to create a tech arm to this. Like it could be endless, right? And I think I have hired the right team to help me build this up. And I'm inspired and excited about some of the conversations that I had with my team of where we see this fitted.
Cool. Well, 3 quick questions, topics, and then I'm going to let you go because the whole world wants to speak to Tracy today. And the first one comes from a fan slash podcaster, Patrick Fitzpatrick, Some Days Off podcast, which is really about training and diet and long-term success as an athlete. And he was curious, as a big time fan of yours, that you have had one of the greatest careers that you could have had in basketball. You accomplished pretty much anything anyone would want to, but there were a lot of injuries in there. And he's wondering if, in hindsight, there's anything you would have done differently for your training or diet, knowing what you know now, to have kept a couple more years in the NBA.
No, I don't think my training or dieting had anything to do with it. I was one of the best in shape guys. To do what I did for the amount of seasons, you got to be in great shape, right? Because it's tough to go out and do what I did and not be in shape. So I think some of the best guys, it's just injuries, man. It's part of the game, right? And for me, because I had back problems, even before my career, I had a slight case of scoliosis. So that's why I had back problems, and I don't even know if people know that. That's why, my career got cut short because, of course, I had the back problems. Then from the back problems came the knee problems. So I could do all the necessary things in terms of training, but body structure wise, it wasn't in the plans for me to be like LeBron James right now.
Hey, success is success, and
Yeah.
you're a successful person. Related to what you just said, question 2, did anyone ever try and get you to do DDPY, Diamond Dallas Page's DDP yoga program, going, hey, the back injuries, athletic guy, famous athlete, DDPY?
I tried it towards the end of my career, but by that time, I was cooked. There's a fork was stuck in me by the time I tried that. But yeah, I gave it a shot. Did I like it? No. But did I like what it did for my body? Yeah, absolutely. But, I had microfracture surgery, and I just don't think any of that was going to help me get back to the player that I was.
Right. Well, the last question I got for you, when you have control of the radio or Spotify or however you listen to music, what's your go-to for like having a great day? Who are some of those favorite artists?
Jay-Z is my all-time favorite artist. I listen to a lot of music, whether it's, when I'm on a relaxing day or I'm with my wife, I go to some R&B, which mostly I listen to late 80s, early 90s R&B. That's what I listen to a lot.
When you say late 80s, early 90s, are we talking New Jack Swing stuff or Shy, or like what kind of stuff?
Oh, okay, about Shy. Okay,
Yeah.
Talking about Shy. I'm talking Tevin
Adina
Campbell.
Howard.
I'm talking Adina Howard.
Okay.
That type of music. Yeah, Keith Sweat, R. Kelly. I mean, the R. Kelly thing.
It is what it is.
I respect the art. I don't respect everything else but the art I'm talking about. So yeah, that's what I listen to.
Great taste. Well, thank you for your time. Looking forward to seeing OBL. I know it's coming to Chicago and Atlanta and New York in the near future. Really, it's wonderful to see an alternative to what we see on television done by smart people. So fingers crossed for you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And thank you for having me on your platform.
Paltrocast.